In a quiet land surrounded by thick forests and wide green fields, there stood a peaceful village built with mud houses and red earth roads. The villagers lived simple lives, farming the land, trading in the market, and respecting the traditions passed down by their ancestors. Every morning the village square filled with life. Traders displayed baskets of fruits, vegetables, and handmade goods, while children ran around laughing and playing games. It was a place where neighbors greeted each other warmly and shared stories under the warm African sun. Among the traders in the busy market was a man named Obinna. He was known as a clever businessman who sold many different goods to the villagers. Obinna often spoke confidently to his customers, convincing them to buy from him. Many villagers trusted him because he always appeared friendly and polite. But behind his friendly smile, Obinna had a secret. He often raised the prices of his goods and told lies to make people believe the items were rare and expensive. One afternoon, a group of respected elders gathered under a large tree near the village square to discuss important matters about the village. One of the elders, an old man with a long gray beard, reminded everyone about the sacred river that flowed beside the village. The elder warned the villagers again that the river must always be respected. According to the traditions of their ancestors, no one should ever lie while standing near the river. But when Obinna heard the elder speak, he laughed loudly, showing that he did not believe the story. Not far from the village flowed the sacred river itself. Its clear water moved peacefully through the land, surrounded by tall trees and thick green forest. Later that day, Obinna walked toward the river and stood beside the flowing water, feeling proud and fearless. He pointed toward the river and mocked the ancient story, loudly claiming that no spirit could punish him. The river remained calm and silent, reflecting the colors of the evening sky as the sun slowly disappeared behind the forest. That night, Obinna returned to his mud house and fell asleep, believing the villagers had been foolish to fear the river. But in the middle of the night, he suddenly woke up with a strange feeling, as if something was watching him in the darkness. Outside his house, the wind began to blow strangely through the village, moving through the trees and empty paths. The next morning, Obinna walked back to the market, but something inside him felt uneasy. He tried to continue selling his goods like before, speaking to villagers and offering them his usual deals. But suddenly, he noticed something strange. Drops of water seemed to be falling slowly from his hands. Confused, Obinna stared down at his palms, wondering how water could appear there when he had not touched the river. That night he fell asleep again, but this time terrible dreams began to fill his mind. In his dream, Obinna stood beside the sacred river while the water slowly began rising around his feet. From within the glowing water, a mysterious spirit began to form, watching him silently. Obinna woke up suddenly, covered in sweat, his heart beating loudly with fear. Meanwhile, the villagers began whispering among themselves, noticing that strange things had started happening around Obinna. But instead of admitting his mistake, Obinna grew angry and decided to challenge the river once again. Late that evening, he returned to the sacred river, standing alone under the darkening sky. Looking at the flowing water, he shouted loudly that he had lied many times and nothing had happened to him. Suddenly, the wind grew stronger, and the peaceful river began to ripple in strange patterns. A faint glow slowly appeared within the water, spreading across the surface like a mysterious light. For the first time, fear appeared in Obinna's eyes as he stared at the glowing river. The water began rising slowly from the river, forming the shape of a powerful spirit made of flowing water. Terrified, Obinna turned and tried to run away from the riverbank. But the rushing water followed him quickly, moving like a living force across the ground. Soon, the rising water surrounded him completely, leaving him with no place to escape. The towering spirit of the river stood above him, powerful and silent. With one final surge, the river's wave crashed forward and swallowed Obinna completely. The next morning, the river flowed peacefully again, as if nothing had happened during the night. But on the quiet riverbank, the villagers discovered something that made them gasp in shock. Obinna's sandals lay alone beside the water, but the man himself was nowhere to be found. The elder slowly explained to the villagers that the river had punished a man who chose lies over truth. From that day forward, the villagers remembered the lesson of the sacred river and respected the warning of their ancestors. And even today, the river continues to flow quietly beside the village, reminding everyone that truth protects those who honor it, but lies will always bring consequences.